Alright, I'm gonna start by saying that I have no intention on making any more videos like these in the future. In fact, I hate making videos like these because I'd rather put that effort into uplifting games that deserve it and criticizing those that need more time in the oven. You know, videos I actually enjoy making. However, because Nintendo has developed an ego bigger than Seto Kaiba and milking their fans for what they're worth, on top of being a franchise that is part of my life forever, this is something I can't keep quiet about any longer. As of right now and until further notice, I have absolutely zero interest in the Switch 2. That system, for all I care, can kick rocks. I'll admit it, when I saw that direct, I was hype and sold on the console like everybody else. They introduced a new Mario Kart that I was genuinely excited for the first time in a while, mainly because I wasn't really into the Mario Kart series growing up, and this was a kart racer that had a lot of meat on the bone. The new DK game looked pretty sick too. We're getting a new Kirby's Air Ride, GameCube stuff is hitting the console, and previous Switch games are getting upgraded, some with even more content with that upgrade. The one that got me the most excited in this regard was Kirby's Forgotten Land. Shoot, I would have been perfectly fine with the game running at a smoother frame rate than before, but then it's getting more content on top of that? Hell yeah, you can sign me up. But y'all know what happened. Nintendo slipped the Bowser space right under our noses and slapped us with that price reveal, killing off the hype immediately for most people, and brought in a lot of infighting between one side defending the company while the other is hitting Nintendo with that shining finger and spending their money elsewhere. Like I said, I was gonna grab the console day one, mainly because I know scalpers are gonna make it a lot harder to get that sucker, plus I'd get an overall discount on Mario Kart if I got the bundle. But just like how Navi would often nag you to hell and back over the smallest things, my gut was telling me to chill, relax, and wait a little bit. Let Nintendo run their mouths, reveal more information, and move with a level head. And sure enough, more info popped out and it progressively killed off any reason I had to pick this backwater console up. I'm not gonna get too knee deep into the reveals cause there's a lot of videos out there that already explains this stuff in full detail. But come on, bro. Nintendo expects me to pay for a console that is behind the times, charge an arm and a leg for Joy-Cons that will likely still have the drift issue since they won't even acknowledge their first Joy-Cons had them. By the way, I'm still very salty about getting Joy-Con drift in my Switch Lite, and I will tell you, that was not fun to repair. Of which, there's a button that does nothing unless we pay for a subscription. Never thought I'd see the day where a controller now has paid DLC. Your physical games are not even going to be on the cartridge. Not to mention, those sick upgrades I brought up earlier are locked behind a paywall instead of being completely free like how it was done when people transitioned from the PS4 to the PS5. Alright, that was a bit more than just a meat and potatoes, but you get my drift. Nintendo has lost their collective minds to the point where I don't even want to pick it up anymore and would rather put that time and effort into other areas that is far more worthy. This isn't about being too poor to afford the system at launch along with everything else. I have already prepared to pick this up once Nintendo was ready to drop it on everybody. It's just that for all the bonehead decision making Nintendo is doing, I personally don't believe they earned my dollar anymore for what is supposed to be the new hotness. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your money. That is your bread that you worked for, and if getting the Switch 2 is gonna make your day, then by all means go right ahead. I'm not gonna sit here and clown nor judge you for it, but if you ask me, I'm gonna chill, relax, and just watch them. Give them like a whole year before even thinking about picking one up, just to see if they changed up their act. And if they insist on pulling this same stunt, oh well, I've got other systems and a whole bunch of older games in my backlog to keep me entertained for a long time. I am a very patient individual who is far more willing to observe and wait out the storm for as long as it takes. They can even go ahead and drop a new Smash title and I still won't budge if everything remains the same. Now that I think about it, that whole variant pricing fiasco means they could go ahead and drop the next Smash game and charge $100 for it. Watch, if things remain the same, I promise you that is exactly what they're gonna do. And then, just to get people to fold like a wet tissue, they're gonna include characters that they know people want. Zero, Alucard, Lloyd Irving, Dante, a new Sonic rep, and Shantae. If any of those got into the game, I know people who would hand Nintendo their entire bank account in a heartbeat. But me? Hell no. Not with all this going on. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. Just getting this off my chest and going right back to doing what I'm doing on here, because as a friendly reminder, I'm not about to make this a habit. But I do appreciate everyone who decided to take time off their day and listen to this rant, even if it just ends up being used for background noise. You made it all the way to the end. Let me know what your thoughts are about this whole thing in the comments below. Check out the other videos I've done while you're here, and if you like what you see, feel free to hit that 60 sub, and I hope I get to see you on the next one. Later!